There you go. Hi, good morning. Welcome to Great Goodness. I'm here with Karen Stewart. Oh, I never let you say your name.
Oh,
And I'm
Karen Stewart.
yay! And I'm here with Corey Holmes.
Hello.
And I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have Corey join us today. I'm always excited to be with Karen. She just lifts me up, lifts my spirit up, and I know will do that for y'all too. So this is Great Goodness, and if you like what we're doing, please like, comment, subscribe, share, let people know. And if you're someone who's putting goodness into the world, then we want to hear from you. We want you to be on the show. We want to share your goodness. We want to grow the light. That's what we're doing here. And so I won't keep you any longer with that. Oh, but stay to the end because we'll be doing a prompt and you want to get that prompt. And you're going to be able to hear all about what Corey does, what goodness she brings into the world, and then you're going to get this creative prompt of your own. And so you don't want to miss that. And now we're going to start with Karen pulling an oracle or tarot. Which one are you doing today?
We are going to do a an oracle card today from this lovely deck, the Wisdom of the Oracle. That is the brainchild behind this is Colette Baron Reed, and the illustrator is Jenna Delagradia. Gosh, I so hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. It's published by Hay House. I love this deck so much. So what we're going to do is just I'm going to do my version of shuffling these cards a little bit, and we're just going to pull a card to consider whatever comes to you through the card. We'll just see what our energy is going to be, maybe take us into the day. All right, here we go. Oh, that's interesting. Can you all see it? It is time to go.
Oh,
And oh, wow, there's a lot to consider on here. I see there's a number. Is it 43? Let me
45
just take
maybe.
45.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I am seeing wings on this woman, and it looks like she's on a pier. She's walking out on a pier,
Okay.
and I think there are stars behind her, a banner of flags in the sky. I love the colors and the clouds. And so, yeah,
Time to
that's
go.
interesting.
Wow.
Time to go. Time to go toward or time to go from? I don't know.
It's a beautiful card.
Yeah.
Time to go forward.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm liking
Yes.
that. I'm liking that. Time to
Yes.
time to begin
Yeah.
or not. It's whatever it means to you guys. Oh, yeah, I'm going to hold that. I'm going to hold that in my heart
Mhm.
for a bit. Okay, there we go.
And and we'll put in the about section down below, we'll put the information about the card. So in case you want to get that deck, in case you want to research it more, you'll be able to have
Yes.
that information. So yeah.
And
Now
so,
the ready? Ready, Corey?
Sure, yes.
Okay. Tell us
do I
about your
get to
goodness.
introduce Corey?
Oh yeah.
Oh, no, we got you do that. No, I do
No,
that. I'm
you
going to
read
do it.
you read the bio. I'll say how awesome Corey is.
As always, we are incredibly organized. No. Y'all, I'm just delighted to be meeting Corey for the first time. After reading this amazing bio, I'm just all giddy with excitement. So let me introduce you. Corey Holmes trained in Cecchetti, ballet, and Luigi Hatchett style jazz in South Florida. Thank you for nodding. I did pronounce that Cecchetti right.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I worked really hard. She earned a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree from Florida Atlantic University and her Master of Fine Arts and Master of Literature degrees from Mary Baldwin University. She has served as the artistic director with Virginia's StepVa, providing art classes to people with disabilities, and now serves as chair of their board. In 2020, Corey was nominated and confirmed to the Virginia Commission of the Arts Teaching Artist roster in both dance and theater, and is now in her second term. Corey creates socio-emotional theater curriculum for the National Educational Theater Association and is on the steering committee for the Arts Education Dashboard, working for the Virginia Coalition for Fine Arts Education. Also, she is chair for the Virginia Theater Association's Theater Division and adjudicates for the Youth Division of the Southeastern Theater Conference. She is the Director of Education at the Wayne Theater in Waynesboro, Virginia, and the Director of Education for Studio Wayne. Corey also serves as the state chair of the nationwide competition Poetry Out Loud. That is a lot of great goodness.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Oh my
Yeah.
great goodness. I'm so
Mhm.
excited to have you here.
Thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
Yeah. And I wanted to bring you on here because I got to meet you through Poetry Out Loud. And the way you see Corey beam right now, that's the way she beams the entire time. And there is such a genuine joy in seeing people find their voice or get to use their
Mm.
voice to be heard and to be seen. Like you can see it when the young people are reading and being responded to, and there's just this lifting up and this radiance that comes from you and this kindness and this joy. She's sending out these emails with all these spreadsheets and all these times and all this stuff we have to do. And all of it is always written with this joy. Like you feel it. You open it up and you're like, okay, I can sift through all these spreadsheets because they just came with so much joy and and patience. She has so much patience with all of that. Like she never seems um you know by that bio she has no free time. Okay. You know
Right?
that this person has worked and is working and is giving and but you would never know that. Like you would just never know that by the energy that she gives. So that's why I love Corey and I wanted her to be here with us. Okay, enough. Now tell us all about the goodness.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I love you too. And I love the feedback that you give those like I always say this, but it's such a gift, right? Feedback is such a gift. And I'm so excited to
Yeah.
meet you, Karen. So thank you for
Oh,
having me.
you're
It's a beautiful spring morning here, and the theater I work on is on the main street of a small town at the top of the hill of the main street. So I can walk in and I get to see the Blue Ridge Mountains that are just starting to
mm,
have flowers, and it's a sunny day. So I was like, oh, this is a beautiful day to do this. It's easy to feel happy today.
Mhm.
So yeah, um at my job we say I wear many hats. I spend a lot of time making spreadsheets. I also costume shows and teach dance class and organize camps and but the thing that's really filling my bucket right now, or an expression that I heard recently at the Junior Theater Festival was the thing that has built a hedge around my joy, is a show I'm directing called Alice by Heart. Um, Originally, this season, we were supposed to do West Side Story, and I was so excited, and we picked it intentionally because we thought we had the right cast, and we've been working really hard with our students on their dance skills. And I was like, now is the time to really show what we've been working on. Um, but we didn't have the right cast. It wasn't the cast that we had,
oh,
it wasn't their story to tell. So another day, right?
Mhm.
But I will not tell a story if it is not our story to
yeah.
tell. And so we did a very quick pivot to this beautiful show called Alice by Heart. And if you're not familiar, it was written in 2017 by the team who wrote Spring Awakening. So it's Duncan Sheik and Stephen Sater. And it takes place in the London Underground, where children and orphans are hiding from the Blitz in World War II. So they're going into the tube station to
Wow.
hide from the bombings. And there's a young girl, Alice Spencer, and her best friend, Alfred, has tuberculosis. So she keeps on sneaking into the quarantine section of the tube to read him Alice in Wonderland because it brings him comfort. And as she does this, the other orphans and the Red Cross nurses turn into the creatures and the people from Alice in Wonderland. Um, and they teach her how to grieve because Alfred can tell the story one more time as the White Rabbit, and he is unable to go further because of the tuberculosis. Um, and it's really beautiful. I have a cast of 28 from age 11 to 17. Some are neurotypical, some are neurodivergent, some are on the spectrum, and it's just being in the rehearsal space with these 28 student performers who are locked in and are the same age as the characters. So they are still understanding grief themselves. And not to be political, but I do feel like at all times, but especially now, young people have this dread. They don't know what's going to happen, just like these orphans who are, being bombed by the Germans. They don't know what their future looks like. They don't know if they'll make it out. They don't know who or how they'll have to grieve, even if it's not a person, even if it's a part of your
Yes.
life or your
Mm-hmm.
rights that are being taken
Mhm.
away. Um, and the integrity with which all of these performers come in, and we have rehearsal at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning. And teenagers at 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning, right? Normally it's like pulling teeth. They're here 10 minutes early. They're prepared. They're locked in. They want to share this story with their community. And it is giving me everything. So let me see what else. I am a firm believer that student performers need to learn. I don't like having a crew, right, to bring sets off and on. We build that
Mm-hmm.
into the transitions from the get-go because I think
Wow.
it really changes the neural pathways of how your brain has to work. And it shows you everyone's part of the ecosystem of storytelling, of theater, right? It gives you an appreciation for when you do have a crew. Um, but if you're literally creating the space and then being part of the space, it just really helps you take ownership. So that is very important to me as a educator and as an artist. Um, in our registration process, it's important to me to um, accommodate for learning differences. And so when you
Mm-hmm.
register, there's always, are you allergic to latex for the mic tape? Are you allergic
Oh,
to, the physical safety concerns? But I always say, you don't have to disclose anything that you don't want to, but if you have IEP or 504 accommodations, if you know that your student performer takes a little bit longer or doesn't like to read out loud the first go, then
mm,
I make sure that you get the script a week ahead of time. If you put in there that, getting a correction in front of other people makes your performer shut down, I make sure my team knows to pull you aside to give you the
mm.
correction. If you put my child really flourishes under praise, we make sure to accommodate for all of those learning differences and possible school accommodations here in the rehearsal space. Um,
Wow.
yeah, which is cool.
Oh,
We
this is
practice
awesome.
this cool thing called
Yeah.
consent-based theater here at the Wayne. Leslie Larson, our artistic director, makes sure that it happens with our adult performers. But when I was growing up performing, and I was a dancer and trained to be an actress, um, and they just said, "Oh, you're playing, Imogen and Cymbeline. Lay down. This other actor is going to kiss you while you're dead on stage." There was no
Oh,
like, "Hey, this
R-
is my body. Give me autonomy."
yeah.
So
Yeah.
we practice consent-based theater, but that starts with our lowest level kids. So we come in, we do something called tap-ins. Today you go around to everyone, you're like, today, general boundaries, which means nobody touch me where a 1940s bathing suit would. And maybe don't yell at me. I'm feeling a little tender. And you don't have to explain why. And in fact, we prefer you don't. You're allowed to just give your reasoning with no justification. And the partner says, what I hear is general boundaries and not to yell at you. And then you go around to someone else, and then you sometimes people don't want to be touched at all. And sometimes they're like, general boundaries, I'm good, let's go. And you high five. And that's your, in this rehearsal space, I can touch you here and nowhere else. And then at the end, you high five to revoke that consent. And then they go on with their day to really delineate this consensus for this 2-hour block. and no more. If I see you in Target, you cannot come up and like grab my hands unless I give you permission. And it's just beautiful to see, my own children are part of it, and knowing that they're going to grow up in a world where they're allowed to say, hey, I am not comfortable with that, and they're not going to be labeled as difficult, um, is huge.
I
Corey.
have to blurt. I
I
have to blurt. Uh, I'm telling you what my need is right now. I have to blurt. That is so empowering. I'm hearing that and I'm like, I'm so excited about that.
I
That is like the most
know.
beautiful thing. And I'm just thinking, dang, what a ramped up, fabulous life everybody would be having if we all did such a thing, is just to come
Yeah.
into our day with people and say, today I'm not feeling this thing. I need this.
And no
Just
justification. No
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 justification.
justification. Just like
Yeah.
state what it is. I love that so much. Okay,
Mhm.
Yeah.
maybe that's my only blurt. I doubt it.
Well, what I love is that the kids, because it's, their knowledge is constructivist, so like they're coming in at the bottom level, and that's just how the world is. But when we switch and do an adult show, you'll hear so many normally female gendered feeling like they have to give the excuse.
Hmm.
Oh, well, like I have a back injury, so please don't, and that's, which is fine. Like I love that you want to, but you don't have to. You can just say no, and that's fine, right? Like you won't be labeled as difficult here. You're just stating your need. And it's such good practice for our young performers, because that isn't practiced everywhere. And they'll go off to college or Broadway or just in their everyday life. And having that muscle memory and that comfort of being able to say, not today. Thank you so much. I don't have
Right.
Yes.
time.
Right.
Mhm.
Just and
That having that experience and know, oh, I did this. I can speak this.
I mean,
Mhm.
that whole thing with Blake Lively, like, do you know what I'm
Yeah.
what if this is how she had grown up? Like, and what if this is how, I don't even want to say his name. I'm not even going to give him that.
Don't
But
give him.
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, it's we need this. This is
Yeah.
good. That is so
It's
much
so
goodness.
empowering.
I wish I'd
It's
had that.
that is great
Right?
goodness.
Even
Yeah,
in
yeah.
sports, like think about in sports, like because in sports we're touching all the time, cheerleading, all of the sports, and like if you could just say, if oh, I wish that had been my language.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm so excited for these kids. Or, for example, there's a scene with a little bit, I don't know if you've heard about intimacy coordination, but anytime you have to, be romantic on stage, we bring in a intimacy coordinator.
Hmm.
There's a moment of almost kiss in the show between Alfred and Alice, and he's like, "Nope, I don't want to give you tuberculosis." But that's a moment when I, as director, step out of the room. I bring in an intimacy coordinator, and she's there, and they have a talk about like, let's choreograph this 2 counts. So it's like fight choreography or dance choreography, so that we're very clear that it's work. And
Hmm.
it is not, your feelings don't get, because
Mhm.
sometimes your feelings get, and it's fake because you're playing, so just, it's a good way to keep everyone safe. And I really value that, mostly because of Leslie, the artistic director here, that this is part of our standards and best practices.
And I love what you said about children being constructivist. Like, I love that. I love that idea and how important this work is because they are constructing our world.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things growing up, I had so many, I wanted to be a ballet dancer, and my teachers who gave me such an amazing education, I could not, they made sure I knew what every word meant in French and how to spell it and how to do it in the 5 or 6 different ballet styles. Like I cannot, I cannot overstate how valuable the arts educators in my life have been, all of them. But and they were always like, "Corey, you're gonna be such a great teacher." And I was like, "What are you talking about? Be a dancer. I'm not going to teach." And then, my body was not right for dancing. So I was like, oh, theater's the same thing. And the same thing. My teachers are always like, you're going to be such a great educator. And for me, that was such a like, oh, you're not going to make it, so you'll have to settle. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm going to be an actress. I'm going to be a director. Let me tell you, my life is so
Mm.
rich. It is so, I would never be the shame of an arts educator, like like saying that you did that and people thinking that you settle when really like arts education is arts cultivation for the future.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's farming. You're farming, you're helping, I'm and this is probably like I'm not trying to be hoity-toity, but like by building empathetic uh, young artists filled with gratitude and filled with thoughtfulness and mindfulness, like we're not just creating our arts for 20 years from now when the stuff they create. I think we're creating the humanity for 20 years from
Yes.
now, right? It's those
Yeah.
soft
Yeah.
skills, it's the
Yes.
Yeah.
collaboration, it's the empathy that hopefully goes out into the world, even if they're doctors or working at a gas station or parents,
Mm.
Yeah. Thank
So
you. Thank you
yeah.
for what you do.
Oh my goodness.
Now,
Thank you. Yes.
tell us the
Ah,
next thing.
it's so exciting.
Oh, do you want to hear about my why? I'm going to tell you about my why.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So in my why, and there may be a link somewhere, but because the video is not great because it is probably from 13 years ago or maybe 11, because this young man is now in college. But I work with a group that I am so passionate about, and I used to be able to actually teach for them, but then I moved. So now I just help support through working on their board. They're called StepVA, and they bring arts education and performance opportunities to people with disabilities. And it started off as one camp, one summer camp. And it's beautiful because they would take each participant and take a look at their needs. And then they give training to volunteers for how to use different sensory techniques to help regulate the partner that we're going to buddy you up with through this camp. So then you have a neurotypical partner who is normally middle school, high school, buddied up with another student who has some needs. And they go through and they create this beautiful performance. And after one of our first performances, we had a young student. His name was Bryce. He was on the autism spectrum disorder. And he didn't, a lot of his interaction, was about the things he was passionate about. And so after everyone was clapping, they come off the stage, they get a medal, they sit with their parents. And he takes the medal and then he takes the microphone from Jan Monroe, who is the founder and the executive director of StepVA. And he says, "My name is Bryce. Thank you for this medallion." And then he says, "It's true. I am different. Some people call it autism spectrum disorder. Some people call it obsessive compulsive disorder. But I am different, but I am myself." And
Mm,
it just broke open something in me about how theater and the arts, poetry, movement, music is for everybody,
Yeah.
literally everybody. There is some way that everyone can appreciate or contribute to our artistic universe.
Mhm.
Um, and I think having limitations on who is appropriate to perform for or to perform really, I mean, it might be a limitation for your performance space, but it's a limit to us as people.
Mhm.
yeah.
Rice is my why.
Oh,
Uh,
and there will be a link. There will be a link in the About section down below to that video so you can hear Bryce say it for himself. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, hey, Corey, can I just rewind you for just a minute? One of the other, you said so many things that I'm like,
I talk a lot.
ooh. Well, thank goodness you do. We need you to. So
yeah, yeah,
keep
yeah.
doing it. Um, you said, I will not tell a story that's not our story to tell. And I wondered if you could talk about that a little more. Like how do we know when it's our story to tell?
Right. And I think it's hard because while I love the music of West Side Story, I love the story. I think it's important to tell. It is not my story to tell as Maria or Anita, because culturally, I want to give justice and verisimilitude to like whose story it is. Um, and so I think knowing, because stories can resonate with you and touch you and form you and change you and still not be yours.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
your lived experience, your cultural history experience. Um, so I don't know. I think if you're asking, is this my story to tell? If you have to ask, I think it's probably not. You know,
Oh,
Yeah.
like I just
yeah.
really feel like, and that's not saying because as performers, right, we do embody other people. The amount of times I have played like the King of France or, the ghost of Hamlet's father. Like I am not male gendered or deceased or Jewish, you know. But I think right now, if you have the opportunity to cast someone whose story it
Mhm.
is,
Yeah.
Yeah.
take that opportunity. Give them that chance if they're able, if they show up, if but if not, um, yeah, yeah. I think there's so much beautiful art in the world that you can create. We have so many choices for what to choose from and all the different stories to tell that if there's any ambiguity about if it's for you or not, choose something else that makes you happy.
So this has been
Yeah.
amazing because you have articulated so many different ways that art is is critical for us as humans and our how we're going to live and how we're going to treat each other and I just I find that so powerful and how fortunate like we are that we have teachers like you and that are cultivating this and our children and then they'll get to go on and do it and we are going to have this world that is like we can keep growing this light and I'm just blubbering now. So but I just was so moved by that because
Yeah.
that's why we wanted to do this show. Like that's why we get so excited talking about
Yeah.
the arts because this is how
It's
important
it's
they are.
it's
Well,
the real.
mhm.
It's the realness, right? It's where you can connect with people through the arts. You
Learn how to
can
treat each
feel,
other.
yeah, you learn how to treat each other. You can feel feelings that in your day-to-day life you may not encounter. You can experience, yeah, it's really important.
I truly believe that the arts are the ideal modality. And I know people don't love the word for social emotional education, but it's just so easy in an art space, whether you're writing or doing music, to then take a moment and reflect, how does this make me feel? How does this
Yes.
make others feel? And in that reflection about yourself and about someone else, I really feel like you find that's where gratitude lies. And
Yeah.
I think really all the other things, I truly believe that everything else in the world that is good stems from the act of being able to have gratitude, like love,
Yes.
kindness, strength, all of those things grow out of the seed that is gratitude. And so if you water that and you cultivate that through reflection about yourself and then yourself in respect to others, um, that'll just grow and get bigger and bigger. And then it's easier to find gratitude everywhere because the more you look for it, the more you find, and then the more you share, and it just, poof,
Yeah.
yeah.
It shines. That's the shine, right? When you feel the gratitude, that's where you feel the rightness,
Mhm.
right? I think that's what gratitude is, maybe at its seed or at its core. It's like you have this feeling where you're like, I don't really know what it is, but it's right. It's like
Yes.
I know that this is a truth. It's like a true feeling that I'm having. And then once you realize that, you're like, thank goodness. Oh, this is gratitude. It's like I have something that is precious and I recognize that. It's like you have a new understanding that's like I am grateful. I'm so grateful. And that is shine. I think
Right?
once you have that feeling, it's almost an automatic thing. It's just gratitude is light.
Hmm.
It's
My
light.
my husband was saying, and I forgot who he was quoting. I don't think it was Vonnegut. I can't remember who it was, but he was saying that if you have that uncle who like sits back and goes, now, if this isn't good, I don't know what is. Like that person's in the moment and like
Yes.
feeling the gratitude. So in our house, we've been trying to find the moments to sit back and go, if this isn't good, I don't know
Yeah.
what is. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You used another word just now that I think is one of the critical things that we do in art that as is share. And there's something that happens in that sharing. I mean, like that you are sharing, that there is a generosity of your spirit when you create and then you share, that there is a vulnerability. So you're sharing the deepest parts of yourself and like and the things that can be born of that sharing and artists share. Like
Yeah.
we were
It's an
born to
offering, right?
share.
That's
Yeah.
our offering when we create. It's like I've created it. Now I am sharing it. This is an offering that you may have your way with. It is
Hmm.
yours to internalize. It's yours to do what you're going to do with it.
For better or worse,
Right?
out of your
Huh?
hands. Hmm.
So good. Yeah.
Hmm.
Ultimate gift. Here's a thing. You may have it.
Yeah. And I always feel so bad when you hear about, like I don't know if it was Afra Ben, but like women playwrights who wrote these plays, but they weren't allowed to publish them. And so after they've died years later, we find this trove of poetry or plays or work that they had to, keep locked up inside. Like it brought them joy. But I think sharing with others is where the community, like that's where the community gets built. And you're,
It's the
mhm.
the extra special sauce. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, the
It just
yummies.
expands it.
Mhm.
Well, if this isn't good, I don't know what is.
Right.
It is great goodness.
Yes, yes, it is. Corey, do you have anything else that you brought that you want to share that we cut you off from by?
Um, a couple. Oh, I want student performers to love the rehearse, like to prioritize the rehearsal process foremost. And then secondary is the performance aspect. Because in educational theater, we don't have to make money in the same way that we have to like. And so if they can learn like the joy of the journey and
Mm,
creating together and like find that as their motivator, and not the rush to the destination. Like I know I've done my job well when a show is over or we're about to perform and they're like, I wish we could have just rehearsed for 2 more weeks. Not because they're not ready, but because they just love being in the room together and creating together and like feeling that community before the sharing. um it's kind of like a new parent with their baby and they like want to just be in their family unit before they like let other people hold their baby. And so I feel like when that happens, I know that I've created a good space, which is nice. And then I'm also a huge fan of dramaturgy for the kids, which is theatrical research. So last summer we did a play called The Orphanage by Melissa Lonnie Larson about Dr. Janusz Korczak, who had an orphanage in Warsaw. And he would do this is a true story. He had like a court system for the orphans, and they would do plays, and that's how he would help them process the fact that they were all going to be marched off to a train. And so as a result, we made sure to bring in specialists to talk to them about the time. Our whole wall was covered with pictures of the actual orphans and the doctor. We did really, really in-depth research because, again, technically not their story because they're not children in the 1940s. So I think dramaturgy, if I can instill in students the importance of super, super deep research,
mm.
even to an emotional level, a safe emotional level. Um, it's just gonna, again, build the gratitude, build the empathy, and build the performance skills. So I think those are my last two things that I wanted to hit.
Dramaturgy. I have learned something new. I've never
Mm.
heard of that.
You can get your degree in it, actually. Because, if you're doing a movie even about the Civil War and you're using a fork with four prongs, well, then they only had three prongs. So, like, you have a dramaturgist on set to make sure, or if you're doing a TV show that takes place in China, then you have someone who specializes in that culture doing your research and making sure that it's appropriate. So
Wow.
it's a cool way to be
Yeah.
involved with the arts if you don't feel like the spotlight is for you or if your skill set is research.
Yeah,
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
that is really cool. Um, I do want to share with you that my nephew, who is 16, and he is on the he's considered on the spectrum. He is this brilliant, loving, just oh my God, he has been loving since the day he was born. I love you, just pours it out. He's so smart. But he found his first like real community in theater doing sound.
Yes.
And now he has a his part-time job is doing sound at a church. And it's the theater and this community that he found at the theater. So yeah, it feels relevant to me. And I just wanted
Yeah.
to share it and how meaningful that's been as someone who loves him to see. And I know the people who watch the children who get to work with you, I know that's the
Mhm.
story they have to tell, like how meaningful it's been for their children. So, yeah. Thank you
Thanks.
for what you do. Thank you so much for what you do. Yeah,
I love it. So I appreciate
yeah,
the acknowledgement, but it's super fun.
I know. You kind of do it for you. Like you do it for them, but you do it for you. Like that's how I feel anyway about
Mhm.
teaching
Yeah.
and like it I walk out like full, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you, Corey, for being with us today. I really, really appreciate it. It was everything and more than I knew it would be. And so as we move into our prompt, here's what I'm going to say. This isn't necessarily a creative prompt. This is a creative living prompt. So for creative life. And I'm actually stealing everything from Corey. So here,
Yay.
yeah, I know. Here's your first thing. Um, so Karen, and also I'm taking this from Karen because Karen has a daily practice of creating, and I've been working to begin having a creative practice daily, which I realize that I create all the time. Like I
You
might
do.
not write every day, or I might not, create art every day, but I'm creating every day. So I've been working on this. I've been thinking a lot about daily practices. Um, so for your daily practice, here's something I'd like to invite you to do, and that is to check in with yourself each day and see where are your boundaries? Like what do you need today? And what is not okay with you today? And maybe maybe first you just set those for yourself and you just learn to hear that for yourself. But then maybe you can share that with others. You know, this is something that I actually am articulate at. And you can ask my husband. I tell him every day, this is what's okay and this is what's not for today. And so and it works and he does the same with me. But so this is your invitation to do that. And here's your other invitation for a creative life. Be that uncle. Look for that place. Look for that place each day where you can sit back and say, if this isn't good, I don't know what is. So, two prompts for creative living. That's what I leave you with today. Oh, and I always forget. Please, please like, comment, subscribe, share, like share this, share Corey's joy, share Corey's goodness. Give her some love in the comments. And again, if you are putting goodness into the world, if you know someone who's putting goodness into the world, please reach out to us and let us know because we want to talk to you. We want to share you. We want to share what you're doing. We want to be part of your love. Yeah. So thank y'all for being here today.